Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Cash, and this is Weekly Recap. And boy, this is going to be a short one for you. This weekly recap is going to consist of one load I did on the way home for vacation. I could have threw this load on last week's weekly recap and made my week look really good, but it would have put me over because this was a 2-day run and the last week was 6 days. It's just not how I do it. I just rather keep it as honest as I can with you. I'm not going to hell over some numbers. So this is what it is. One load, 1 week. Stick around after we do it all, run it down about the load and all. I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions I get and kind of walk through and talk through some of that. I think that's real insightful for the new guys. So if you know somebody that's new to trucking or wants to become an owner operator, send them this video. Maybe it'll help them. Maybe it'll discourage them. Maybe it'll enlighten them. I don't know. Just maybe it'll help them. But this is going to be one of those weeks where we get to the end and everybody's going to go, I made more money than you, selling oranges by the freeway is my running joke on that. But keep in mind, this is a 2-day week. So being an owner operator, the shorter the week, the worse it looks because your fixed costs don't go anywhere. Okay, keep that in mind. You've got to cover the fixed cost. It's really business 101. It's like the less revenue you have, the less you have to cover your fixed cost. But let's get to it. I did one load, Ohio to Minnesota. My last week, I finished the week in Ohio, and I was kind of pinned down because I was going on vacation after this. So it kind of worked out to the point to where I'm like, I've got to be home. And it's tough when you have to be in any area in this market because the fact is this market is tough, and getting to a specific location is even tougher because there's no freight volume out there right now. And when I say freight volume, I mean the amount of loads versus how many trucks available to haul it. And like if I would have went Ohio to Missouri, or if I could have went anywhere, Ohio to I don't know, South Carolina, you name a place, maybe I could have done better. But I had to be home. I had flights booked. I had rental cars laid out. I had a whole thing laid out. So um, had to be home. Had to take what I could get. And of course, I don't call the broker up and go, "Hey, broker, I need to be in Minnesota because I got a lot of stuff planned out, and could you get me for all I'm worth?" No. I call. We say, "Hey, we need this load," and it's what it is. Ohio to Minnesota. This is the last week of March right here. The last few days of March and the first week of April. I was on vacation. So this is wrapping up March 2025. And that load, Ohio to Minnesota, 90 empty miles, 699 loaded miles for a total of 789 miles. That load was 38 degrees, 42,000 pounds, and it paid $1,200. Yes, there you go. Bomber. Let's go over the numbers of that, which I pretty much just laid out for you, but we'll break it down because that's what we do here. So me and my carrier together made $1,200 for the week. 960 of that's my 80%. I drove 789 all miles, 699 loaded miles, 90 deadhead miles for 11.4% deadhead. I made a buck 52 all miles. Sweet, sweet buck 52. My 80% of that was $1.22 a mile, and loaded miles paid $1.71 per loaded mile. And I spent $263 on diesel. I didn't spend nothing on reefer, nothing on DEF, and $13 on tolls, zero on parking, zero on scales for a total fixed cost, a total variable cost of $276. Bring over my $960 I made, subtract out the $276, and that leaves me $684 to do what I have to do with. Now, we all know that's not covering fixed cost. I pay myself a salary, which is more than what that is. My truck payment and insurance is probably close to around that a week. So, you know, basically probably covered truck and insurance for the week. But that's the week. It's just what it is. It's just how it works out sometimes. I probably could have grabbed. Now, my vacation was set for 8 days, and I ended up being off for 11 days. So I could have grabbed like a 1 day out and a 1 day back, like a Chicago, Minnesota to Chicago, Chicago back to Minnesota. But in a such a low freight volume market, I'm not willing to risk that because it's like, what's the point of taking $1,000 load to Chicago and then not getting a load back and having a deadhead to catch the flight? And at that point, I just went to Chicago and back for $1 a mile, and it just ain't there. It just ain't there. Now there are some loads that I can do out of the Chicago area, but again, I'm not looking to move people's freight for cost. So it's like it's not, to me, it wasn't even worth the effort. I mean, adding some revenue would have helped with the fixed cost. Probably could have made 1500-1600 going to Chicago and back. But it's like 900 miles, and it's to me, it's like at that point it's not worth the effort. So that was the week. Wrapped it up, went home, had a good vacation, and was glad to be back in the truck because I was wore the hell out from vacation. When you got kids and you go on vacation, you don't get much of a vacation. Is anybody else noticing that? But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I had a good time, but it wasn't like restful. You know what I mean? So that was the week. Now I want to go over a few of the questions I get asked all the time, and if maybe I can like direct people to this video when they ask a bunch of those. The number one thing I get asked all the time is, what's the name of your carrier? I don't talk about that. I don't know how many times I got to say that, and I still like weekly get that, like, wink wink, you can tell me. And I'm like, I just, it doesn't do anything for me, like, I had someone ask me one time, someone I know was like, do you get a referral bonus for, you know, over there? And I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't refer people. I was like, I know you and I wouldn't refer you. Like, if you want, you got to call them up and talk to them. I don't talk about the carrier. And that's like to a level of where, like, I had someone a week or two ago ask me, does your carrier hire teams? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. I'm not a team. Like, why would I know these things? Like, I honestly, I don't know what my carrier hires because I don't talk to them about it. Um, so yeah, it's just not for me. I don't want to tell you, this place, because I've had people that's come here and they tell me, oh, the experience is way different than what you describe, and it's like, yeah, that's usually how trucking is. I don't know any two truckers that ever have the same experiences. It's just how it is. Your truck could do different, your loads could be different. It's just what it is. It's going to be different. And I don't want to be responsible for that. Okay. I want you to do your research. That way, when you find a good carrier, you can be happy about it. And I think that's a thing. When someone recommends you to a company, you have like a really high standard of it because you think everything's going to be perfect, and it's just not. And I'm good at dealing with you know seeing that and seeing that sometimes I'm winning, sometimes the carrier's winning. If you're looking to win all the time and have your carrier lose all the time, it's not going to be a good relationship for them, and they're not going to like you, just like if it was opposite. So I'm good at, like, I try to make it where we both make money because that's what we're here for. And I try to make it where, we get along, but that's effort from both sides. You know what I mean? And when I say winning and losing, I mean, like, when things go like off the rails, sometimes they take the hit, sometimes I take the hit. Eh, it's what it is, it's just what it is. So I don't talk about the carrier. Don't ask. I don't answer questions about them. Like, I don't know what their process is. I don't know, as far as hiring. I mean, hell, I've been here for 5, 6 years now. Hell, I can't even keep up with it. I don't really remember how the hiring process went, to be honest about it. So that's that. People ask me a lot of times, what's included in the 80-20, the split? And again, that's one of those things. I don't really even see why I answer those questions, because how's it going to affect you what my deal is? But I will tell you, my carrier covers the trailer. As far as they cover the buying the trailer and the maintenance of the trailer, that's on them. I pay for the fuel to run the refrigerated loads. So that's how that works. So there are companies out there that do include the trailer in the 80-20%. There's some that don't. Some of them you pay a trailer fee on top of it. It just depends on what your carrier's got going on. Now, I know, like, if you don't run or make a certain amount of money, you know, you're not gonna get a really good trailer. I mean, you'll get a trailer, but it might be, it might be a 7 or 8 year old trailer, because they can't afford to buy you a new trailer if you're going to sit at the house all the time, basically. And a lot of the guys here that are like, the guys that's been here for a long time, 10 years, those type of guys, they buy their own trailers. That way they eat the cost of that, and so they probably get a little bit more of a percentage out of it. But that's what it is. Someone's got to pay for that trailer. You got to understand, as an owner operator, someone's paying for that trailer. There's no free trailers. So either you run enough to make your company enough money where they can afford to buy you a trailer, or you buy your own trailer via, renting it or whatever. But um, another question I get a lot is, people ask me, why don't you buy your own trailer? And I have thought about this. I've put a lot of thought into this. I've run the numbers on this multiple times, and my carrier can just do it better. That's the fact. They can buy a trailer, they can maintain a trailer cheaper and better than I can. Because if I go buy a trailer, here's the deal. I'm buying one trailer every 5 years. The guy at the dealership not even remembering who I am when I come in there once every 5 years trying to buy a trailer. To me, if you get a percentage bump up on buying a refrigerated trailer, you're basically just paying for the trailer. You have to pay the trailer off to see like an advantage of putting that money into the trailer. And to me, I'm not willing to wait 4 or 5 years to see the benefit of owning the trailer, of which could be nothing really, because you don't know. The refrigerated trailers are stupid expensive to work on. Your typical Thermo King carrier dealer now is like $200 plus an hour for labor, and I just, to me, the numbers don't math. I'm looking to make as much money as I can as one dude, one truck. I mean, I could have hired people during COVID. I could have done all that. To me, that's not what I want to do. I don't want employees. I don't want truck drivers as employees for sure. I don't want my equipment 1,000 miles away without me in it. And that's just where I'm at with it. So for me, the risk to reward's not there to buy a trailer. If it is for you, then, good for you. You're probably making a little bit more money on the grand scheme long-term thing than I am. But I try to keep my risk low. I try to keep my income up. And with buying a trailer, I can do one of those, but I can't do both. Okay. So this is how I see it. My carrier, they can go buy 10 trailers at a time. And they've got a full shop. They work on reefer units. They can refurbish units. They can take old units off of newer trailers and, or put, older units on newer trailers. They can do all these things that make buying a trailer cheaper. Not to mention they buy a lot of trailers, so they've got that recognition. They know, they get those calls from the dealers, And the dealer's like, hey, I just had, 10 trailers come in from, so and so carrier. Are you looking for something right now? And then they can buy a couple at a time and get a better deal than one guy one time buying one. So for me, it's hard to own a trailer at a decent price versus what my carrier can. They're just in a better position, and that's what it is. And that's how I see it. And a lot of people ask me about buying trucks. Um, my take on buying a truck is this: everyone's different. Everyone does their own thing. You do you. But for me, I like to do it like this. I like to buy a truck from a good fleet, like preferably not a base model fleet. I like to buy a truck that's got a few nice comfort options on it from a local dealership that I can trust. Preferably a truck with some warranty left on it. That's how I like to buy trucks. Something in the 350 to the 450,000 mile range, preferably with a warranty or something I can extend out on the warranty. And I like to run her for, 250 to 350,000 miles, somewhere between 7 and 800,000 miles, and rinse and repeat. And that's just how I like to do it. I like because that keeps my risk low. It's not a wore out truck. It's still got some warranty on it to cover the big breakdowns, and that's just how I like to buy a truck. I mean, you do it however you want to, but auctions aren't for me. I grew up. My family was in the logging industry, and we always looked at it as auction is where you send equipment when you're getting rid of it. That's not where you go buy equipment. So that's just a mentality I've took along with me. It's called for you livestock guys, it's a pig and a poke. It's buying a something you don't know nothing about. So I'd rather buy from a reputable dealership, a local dealership, so I can do repeat business with them. Um, it just seems to work out better that way, and that's how I like to do it. It may not be the right way for everybody, but I've found over the last few trucks it's the right way for me. And yeah, it's just what I like. I like a nice aerodynamic, fuel efficient truck. Um, I kind of look at specking a truck when I go to buy a truck, and this is why I like to say I buy them from a carrier that's not a base model type carrier, because I look at it like this. If I was a company driver, would I drive that truck as a company driver? That's kind of what I look for. I want some creature comforts. I'm in this thing all the time. You know, I, I want a few little nice things that make it nice. It's just all there is to it. So there you go, folks. This has been weekly recap. Thanks everybody for watching. I do appreciate it. Take care of each other out there, and remember, people are more important than trucking. Hi, I want to talk to you real quick about the ES Advantage card. Do you need discounts at major truck stop chains? They got them. Do you need discount on shop rates at TA and Loves? They got them. Tire discounts. They even got health insurance now. Click the link down below. Easy application, no credit check. Sign up. They give you a call back, take all your information, and you'll be in the network.